Hi guys, coming at you on a 4th of July weekend, and hope everybody stay safe and have a good time. But I'm gonna take this time to actually bring up a case that would be law enforcement's worst nightmare. Coming up against 5 armed bandits with assault rifles for the purpose of robbing dope smugglers from their load. So an individual decided to actually put together a crew, which the actual Border Patrol, their suppression team, nicknamed them the Rip Crew because they would rip off dope smugglers from their actual loads. And it was already known that they were actually doing these. They were actually successful at one point, but these 4 actual Border Patrol agents, they actually were on the hunt. Were on the hunt for armed bandits with assault rifles near the Nogales border crossing in Arizona. So these guys are actually trained tactically. They're actually armed with long arms and have training almost equivalent to SWAT, but more on the actual, how do you say it, more on the actual not jungle training, but more on the actual landscaping of the terrain that you happen to come across at the actual border. So when these guys set out that evening, they knew what they were looking for. They knew exactly what it was all about. Basically what it was all about. And I just want to bring up a video I did a while back regarding losing the load to unknowns, right? And in that video, I explained how me and my partner, we knew a group was laid up towards a certain bridge, and I'm thankful that it was an actual different surrounding. There was actually a road there. There was actually it was actually populated to an extent, for the fact that we were in the middle of nowhere with no kind of reference to who's actually in front of us or behind us. So as we're conducting this actual traffic, we're waiting for backup to get north of us so we can push it instead of them having to run south. And as we're waiting for our actual our shift a different shift to come in, we get the word that it's actually it's a controlled delivery from a different agency, and we were told to stand down, and they actually proceeded to get on the actual vehicle and load up and take off, and that could have been different. That could have been real dangerous, for the fact that when you're out in these areas, your radios seem to not work as good on the worst time, and the radio gets broken up, conversations get lost, and there might have been a good chance that we would have opened up on friendlies, just for the fact that if we see them with long arms, if we see them with actual weapons in their hands, you just don't know what could have happened. And luckily, we were in a populated area where it actually got suppressed fast, and yeah, we were upset. We were really upset for the fact that we didn't know friendlies were out there conducting this type of operations, and they didn't even have the courtesy to actually for officer safety, let us know, and that was very, very dangerous on their part, But, what could you do, at that point, you just send it up and let the politics, take their actual, you know, take the steps that they need to take at that level, At that level, you can't do anything as a line agent. You just have to actually let it all work out and for the best and avoid, future incidents of sort, but they didn't stop. They continued, and that was just something you actually had to deal with, And as these actual agents are conducting their patrols, they're looking for these actual suspects. They come in contact with a group of 5, and they identify themselves, what their actual agency they're from. But this is all conducted in Spanish. And at that time, according to the report, one of the actual people doing the ripoffs opens up. Now, whether he wanted to actually hit the actual agent, was it a lucky shot? I'm thinking it was a lucky shot for the fact that, when you're in that situation, it would take a lot of training. It would take a lot of discipline for you to focus on an individual. And he hit this actual agent in his back where there was no actual coverage for anyways, there was an assault rifle, so the bulletproof wouldn't have done that much protection. But he hit him in a spot where it wasn't covered in his back, and he bled out. Basically bled out. There was the people with this actual agent, they were trained for such events. But when they hit you in a spot that you just can't, actually tend to on a first aid capacity, you really can't do anything, And unfortunately, this is exactly what happened, and that agent passed away, And he passed away, and these individuals, it was a shootout. But when you can't actually cross that line, cross the international line, yeah, sorry about that, guys. Yeah, when you actually can't cross that line, I could only imagine what his partners felt. That they actually couldn't continue with the pursuit. Open up internationally, open up on suspects down south. I'm not saying it didn't happen, but on paper, that didn't happen. But I can only imagine the frustration of not having been able to cross that line and pursue them and get down, basically get down, because at that point you're not worried about arresting him, but you're worried about catching whoever did this to your actual partner and taking care of business. I'm gonna be honest with you right there, but because until you're not in that position, you don't know exactly how you're going to react and how you're actually going to think. And that's the honest truth. And for all 5 of them to get away, and not being able to catch them right away, and they eventually caught the individuals that was responsible for putting this actual crew together, who was actually there after $1 million reward went out, and people started getting extradited, and it is what it is, but they even went after crew members that were actually incarcerated, that were actually part of this crew. They even went after them, and they charged them with a conspiracy, and they actually were successful at actually prosecuting individuals that were not even at the actual place of the shootout, but they got him on a conspiracy because they knew exactly what they were up to, and unfortunately that's what happened. And this agent actually, you know, in that situation, there's nothing that he could have done or the team could have done differently to actually approach these, because you're not going to actually expect people with assault rifles to actually not use them. I mean, they have them weapons for a reason, and apparently they one of them actually decided to open up, and he did just that, and that ensued a shootout. Visibility, I wasn't there, so I can't really tell you what exactly they were shooting at, but one of the bullets got that agent in the back, and that's all you can actually think about. Things could have been different, and I want to think that I actually made the difference. My team actually made a difference in that perspective, for the fact that when we went in there with high-tech equipment and started surveilling the actual border face to face, I don't even want to say I kid you not, but the first times we were actually calling out groups, agents that were actually there already on a permanent status, that were undermanned, underpowered for the miles that they were actually assigned with the task with actually guarding, patrolling. I remember to this day the first words out of their actual radio that we heard were, "Do they have long arms?" Meaning, are they armed? And we were able to actually pinpoint that information on an individual. And not till later on, it dawned on me, why they would actually ask. And for them to have that sense of relief that they're not armed, to know that they're actually not armed, was a big plus for this actual station. Especially when crews were actually conducting these types of rip-offs, And at the time, it was something, just a casual conversation on the radio, it was saying, "Hey, do they have long arms? Can you see if they have this? Can you see if they have that? Can you see if they have any kind of mobile vehicle close by?" That all makes a difference, Because if they have something close by, a vehicle close by, you're not going to get off on foot, And that was a big difference that we actually we were doing for them, and for them to accept us, for them to actually not think that we were internal affairs or from the Attorney General's office, and not to label us that, it was a big game changer, for our team. It was actually a big morale booster, because, like I said, we weren't always welcome at every station, for whatever reason. And the video I did when I had an open mic and I was talking bad about that agent in Pearl Beach, I never went back to that station to work. I couldn't. I was so embarrassed, and for the fact that there was tension between us now, you know what I mean? And you can't have that, And later on, I saw him again, and we kind of squashed the whole thing, but still, you're still there, I mean, my embarrassment was still there, and I was a little bit of animosity towards them, But it worked out. But like I said, for us to go into an actual terrain and give them that sense of security to the person who's actually on the ground, that's a big difference, and a big different outcome of what actually happened to this actual agent that died, And remember, we weren't given any air support, even though we had the actual equipment, the pilots, and everything. The Clinton administration shut down the actual that operation for our actual mission, for whatever reason they had, But you would want to think that there'd be a different outcome if there was a bird up in the air, or one of our teams was actually out there, having an extra set of eyes for them in the air. That would have been a big difference. But unfortunately, they didn't have that actual resource that night. All right, guys, and stay safe this 4th of July, and don't forget to like and subscribe. Thanks a lot, guys.